Welcome to KHM Today, your weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. I'm your host, Carolyn Orphan. Today is April 10th, 2024, and we are celebrating a little early Earth Day. So thanks for those of you that have waited around patiently. We had a few technical challenges, so I kind of feel like I wish we were doing cocktails with Carolyn today because I feel a little stressed out. But we're here and we have the most amazing guests with us. Did everyone enjoy the solar eclipse this week? I know depending on where you were living, you had an opportunity to see it at all different levels. I know I just kind of peeked outside for a few minutes, but I know some of your images that you were posting on Facebook were incredible. So I hope that everyone enjoyed that event this week. As we know, spring break is over, but the summer is quickly approaching. So I don't know about you guys, but I am very quickly and working rigorously to make sure that all my summer travelers are ready to go and they've got seats and flights and nothing's canceled, nothing's changed. So I've been working tediously on that, along with, for those of you that I'm going to see at the ASTA Global Convention in Dallas at the end of May, registration for educational sessions open today. So I hope that you have taken the time to look at everything that's offered, and you've been doing your signups today. So that's going to be a great event. So I look forward to seeing so many of you there. Like I said, we have some amazing guests today. I hope you guys will let us know that you're here in the chat. So first up, for the first time ever, please welcome to KHM Today, Mr. Steve Spivak, Vice President of Global Sales and Reservations for Tauck. Steve, thanks for joining us today. Oh, we can't hear you.
We're only 3 years into this Zoom thing, and I still can't figure it out. I mean, come on. Rookie
That's okay.
mistake.
Look, when I tell you everything's been fine, and then today I'm hardwired to like my whole TV and everything because of internet connection, nothing ever is something we think it is the day before. But we have quite a crowd joining us today. Everyone's super excited to hear about Tauck, and of course from our two fantastic agents that are with us today as well. But did you have a chance to see the eclipse on Monday?
I did, and I have 3 kids, age 12, 9, and 5, and so they were super excited about the eclipse, and came home with their glasses and their instructions and their viewing
Yes.
boxes, and so it was quite an event, and we're very happy to be a part of it. And I think
Yeah.
it's anything we can do to keep our kids interested and engaged in the world around us and science and the earth, and how to preserve
Mhm.
it and protect it, I think is good.
Well, and Talc does such a good job of that. And I think when I look at the information out there about your company, I'm always so, I don't know why I'm surprised, but I'm always in awe of it really is the foundation of the company. It's kind of like everything else is secondary, but how you work with the people, the places, the earth, that's at the forefront of how you plan and manage everything. Would you
I would
agree?
I would totally agree. Next year will be our 100th anniversary, which is an incredible milestone. And obviously, so much has changed in travel, and so much has changed about the company since that first Studebaker took 6 guests through the back roads of New England. But so much has also stayed the same. And I think
Mhm.
the core foundation of this company is do the right thing. Our chairman, Arthur Tauck, who's now 92, Arthur Tauck Jr., the son of the founder, has a very
Yeah.
simple philosophy. If you're making people's dreams, you have to do things right. And if you do things right, you'll be successful. And that goes back to his father's vision, of treating people well, and having them refer their friends and repeat with us. And taking care of people. That's the people who are our employees. That's the people who trust us with their dreams. That's the people in the community we live in, and the communities we travel to. So it's this sort of holistic view of everyone who's in our ecosystem and how we impact them and they impact us, and doing what's right by everyone.
I think it's such an interesting It's a core value, right, of your company. But this is not something, the caring for the earth was not something that's really been around for almost 100 years, right? We've kind of gotten on that path as we've learned more about the impacts of our own footprint, right? And so I find it amazing that that's been the philosophy of Tauck for so long, because it wasn't in
It
fashion
wasn't. It,
necessarily, right? It wasn't the thing to be
it
concerned
wasn't
about.
in fashion, and of course, it wasn't always apparent. Back in the 1920s, uh, we were in awe of the natural world. And that's really what we were
Mhm.
taking people to see. We were taking them, sort of saving them from the city and showing them this bigger world, whether it was, the national parks, the charming little villages. We were taking them to this better, more bucolic place and giving them an appreciation of that. But, you know, one of the first chapters in our history of one of the great challenges was the Great Depression, and then World War II, and you started to see how sort of specter of poverty and destruction and sort of global calamity did start
Mhm.
to color our sense of bigger responsibility. And then obviously in the 70s and beyond, when we really started to see the impact that humans were having, and get a sense of appreciation and fear of the impact we were having, um, it started to be very clear that our responsibility in taking people around the world was to remind them of the fragility and importance of these places we visit. In the US, for example, 80% of our journeys travel to the national parks, in the US
Mhm.
and Canada. And there is no greater reminder of the wonder and splendor and power of nature than those national parks. And when you go home, you can't help but be reminded just how fragile those ecosystems and environments are. And travel, I think, serves to remind us of that. And we have a great sense of responsibility in being stewards of those environments, and the responsibility of taking people there and reminding them just
Mhm.
how wonderful the world is.
Well, and you have, speaking of the monuments and the national parks, that's really like labeled the Tauck impact, right? That you're so supportive of those destinations and those places. And I think when you put a title to
Mhm.
it, I think people can grasp it, and I would imagine employees can also relate to it. They don't forget about it. It's not a tagline. It's not something secondary that you think about. It's, you've said, this is the Talc impact. How does, what trip are we planning next? What are we thinking about doing new? How is this part of that?
Yeah.
Um, I don't. You're smiling, so I'm
Uh,
guessing maybe I'm
You're
getting
you're
it.
absolutely getting it. And one of the things that I love so much about this company is, a lot of companies, and very thankful that we do, and companies do, who feel that sense of responsibility. They make financial donations, and
Mhm.
there is great hope that those donations wind up in the right places. And they have campaigns. We're going to give a donation to this philanthropic effort. But with Tauk, we actually go to the destination and put our hands on, um, very literally put our hands on the fabric of that destination and make sure that it is
Mhm.
better after we leave than it was when we arrived. And we have opportunities for our employees, and we're just bringing them back now post COVID to really go to some of these incredible monuments that we visit, like the Mormon Barns in Grand Tetons
Mhm.
National Park, Mormon Row, or Harper's Ferry, or Minuteman Historic Park, which we'll be visiting next year, and actually physically participate in the restoration work of these great monuments, so that not only are they deeply connected to these places, but that our travelers are reminded that, Tauck is there to make sure your experience of travel is great, but also to make sure that these monuments are here for generations to come, and
Hmm.
your children, your grandchildren, and we call that our hammer core. Where quite literally we go out with hammers and do
Right.
restoration work, and it's accessible to every one of our employees. And it's such a unique way to connect with the places we support. Of course, we support through grants and we support through donations and fundraising, but we really physically support the vibrance of these destinations and the
Hmm.
restoration of these monuments.
There's so much to be said by playing to doing more than just writing a check or putting your name on something. That hands-on approach, I just think, is so important. It's something that I've been doing, and I encourage my kids to do, because yeah, mom can write a check, but what have you learned from that experience?
That's right.
Nothing.
And it's
That nothing
emotional.
you've learned. Yes.
It's
So,
very
for you to go
emotional.
out there and physically do the work is a lot more tangible. I want to talk real quick about, we talk about that footprint, and Tauck has something sort of, I think, sort of new, and that's a lighter footprint, and that is more small group opportunities. And we think there's small group, but there's even a smaller group that's possible now, which is amazing because we've seen that, especially since COVID. People want smaller, more authentic
Mhm.
experiences, and they're not afraid to pay for them.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we have a saying at Tauck, small is big.
Mm,
And that saying really came about when we were designing our river cruise ships to carry fewer passengers than any other ships that travel the rivers of Europe. And our small ship cruising program, when we built that program, the idea was to be able to access those little harbors and small ports that the big ships can't get into. And the reason for that approach, small is big in cruising, and the reason for smaller groups, um, it's the experience of connecting to the people you're traveling with, and being able to do that more authentically. But it's also when you enter a destination, when you arrive into a destination, and you're in a charming village in France. Let's just say you're in Arles, France. When
mhm.
200 people get off a ship in Arles, France, it's not so charming anymore. Um, and it changes the nature of that destination. It changes it for the people visiting. They don't get the authentic experience. They don't know what life's really like there. They don't see what that destination was like before they arrived, and it really changed it for the people who live there. And what we've seen through this sort of barrage of mass tourism is destinations are revolting. Um, and they don't want visitors anymore because it changes the fabric of their everyday, and not always for the positive. So for us, smaller groups means you are almost invisible within the destination
Mm,
and to the residents of the destination. In the best sense, you become patrons of the little cafes and you become patrons of
right.
the shops, but you don't overrun the villages and the shops and the restaurants. And we know that the places we visit appreciate that approach, and we know our guests, they
Yeah.
want to feel like a local. They want that truly immersive, authentic experience. And small, that's why we say small is big.
Right. I love it. Well, we've just finished Q1. We're in Q2. What do we have to look forward to for the rest of the year? Because it's not over yet.
The year is definitely not over. And look, we are just really getting into our big operating season now, right? Like
Right.
it really starts with the springtime in the Netherlands and in Holland and Belgium, and when the tulips emerge, that really signifies the start of our season. It starts in a big way with river cruising, and then our national parks travel, and then our big Europe land season and small ship cruising. So, I think one of the most exciting things is we're back in every place, in every style of travel. Families are traveling together again all around the world. People are reconnecting through travel. We have so many new itineraries. I think we have 6 new itineraries this year on the rivers, and those itineraries are designed to take people to those roads less traveled, on those roads less traveled. Places like Montreux, Switzerland, places like Monte Carlo that you don't typically go, Milan, Italy, where you don't typically go on a river cruise, in the
Right.
lakes region. We're trying to do things differently so that we're not in the same places everyone else is, at the same time everyone else is there. And so we're just excited for this year, and we're really excited to begin the celebration of our 100th. And in Tauck fashion, the celebration of our 100th is not about Tauck. It's about you, Carolyn, and the advisors there, and everything that they have given to support us, everything they have given to their clients to give us the opportunity to fulfill their dreams, everything our partners and employees have done. Our celebration of the 100th is all about the gratitude we have for those who have enabled us to be here. And so we're excited to celebrate you and our partners. And it's going to be a great year ahead.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on 100 years. It's amazing. And we always appreciate your partnership. So we do have one agent that's so thankful because you called her golden ticket number at the
Ah,
ASTA conference
Nancy.
in Amsterdam. She's ready for her free cruise. We love
Oh,
Nancy
Nancy.
from Free Blondes.
We're excited. We're excited to welcome you aboard, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you so much for being there at ASTA. Thank you for supporting the ASTA conference, and those incredible advocates for all of us. We're happy you won. It's great to
Oh,
be
that's
here with you
awesome.
again.
Oh, Steve, thanks so much for being here. And we look forward to another time where we'll be able to welcome you back.
I do as well. Thank you so much, Carolyn.
Thank you. I love all the chats today. It's really fun. Nancy, so great to see you, and I can't wait to hear all about the trip you book. All right, so I'm very excited to welcome our next 2 guests at our Crystal Conference. The top 3 agents were announced. These agents are Emily Bookey, Ashley Julvezan, hopefully I got that right, and Jocelyn Light. Today, we're lucky enough to have 2 of the 3 with us today. Please welcome Emily and Ashley. Ladies, we're here, and I believe the technology is working.
I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. If not, just listen to every third word and you'll get it all.
Sounds good.
All right. So, we always have 100 questions, and I'll be honest with you guys. I sent you over questions, and then I actually added to the list because things came up in the last couple of days. And agents might want to know. So the first one is, and this one I didn't send you, was when you're working at the volume that you're working, do you train your clients? And the answer might be different. So, Emily, let's start with you. Do you train your clients to work the way you work?
I have had to kind of restart because where I was 11 years ago to where I am now is completely different. So as your business continues to grow, like when I first started, I was tracking flights. I was letting them know what their next gate was if they had a layover. I was like a helicopter mom. And now I don't have that. I don't have the time to do that. So I kind of have to set them up, from the very beginning, like the moment that they book. I will explain like the process. You're going to get probably 15 extensions. Those are all going to be automated. If you want to make a payment, here's how you do that. But I still have challenges because a lot of my clients still want their hand held because that is what they became accustomed to.
And so when you say extensions, for those of listening that are not necessarily with KHM, these are all preset emails, communications that over time you have developed that let people know, your clients know what they should be doing at which point, and really just it's like heads up along the way.
Exactly. I mean, they are reminders like check your passports, packing lists, activities, all kinds of information, because those were the emails that I was automatically sending. Like Emily, as a person, was sending them. And obviously that's not something that I can do anymore. So we've really set up, from my Italy guide to, all of the ins and outs. What do you need to know, so that we are kind of hitting it head on. So my clients know far in advance what they should be doing, or, what to look for. So we're kind of just like sending all of that information before the questions even get asked.
Right. Which is a very proactive response, right? Ashley, how do you handle this? Do you train your clients? Have you had success training clients?
I would say I am very similar with Emily, that I also have extensions. We worked with the same person to set these extensions up. So it's pretty similar. It's a series of 10 or 15 emails that they get. I would say that I am an agent I handhold as much as I need to, but I would say I'm also pretty hands off unless my clients need me. So I am not an agent. I'm comfortable with, I'm Delta Vacations. I'm comfortable that they're going to have the reservations for my clients. I don't call the hotels and check on that every single booking that they're booked properly, because I'm confident that that's happening already. And my clients are all happy with me. They like the service that I provide. And if it's needed, then I always go above and beyond, obviously, if they need questions or extra phone calls or whatnot. But I would say the majority of my clients kind of know that what they need to do.
Well, and I think you said it right. What part do they play in their own vacation? And I think that's a detriment to some of us, because we don't pass off that ownership. At some point, the client does have to own their vacation and know the steps to take if they are struggling. That doesn't mean that we're not there to assist, but gosh, at the airport and a flight cancels, for them to be sitting in a seat calling us is not as important as them calling us from standing. We can work that solution together. And I think sometimes we're afraid to give those tools to a client because it might seem that we're not taking care of them, but that's the opposite of what's actually happening, in my opinion. With the volume that you're dealing with, how do you stay organized? Ashley, let's start with you.
So I used to be all over the place with new clients. So somebody would call me, I'd pick up right away, and they'd say, I want to go to Bora Bora. And I'd say, oh yeah, sure. Tell me the dates, when, where, what's your budget? And it would completely mess up my whole flow for the whole day. So absolutely not. I do not do that anymore. If my phone is ringing and I don't know the number, I let it go to voicemail so that I can actually have the time. Sometimes I pick it up, but most of the time I let it go to voicemail, and I have the Google telephone where it just sends me an email with what the client says. And I can send that off to my assistant, or I can, call them back later. But even when I call them back, I don't do the initial consultation call initially. So I have an acuity calendar. I do consultations on my time. I only leave open 3 days and 3 hours a day for consultation calls. A few times I open up like 2 Saturdays a month for a couple hours. And then I tell people, if you can't find a time or a date in those, then let me know and I can open up a time for you. Because I used to be calling people at 6 p.m. when I'm supposed to be having dinner with my family, and it caused a lot of animosity. And it's like, no, I'm going to do it during the day. But that's just one thing. So initial consultation calls, I have a step. I don't talk to people and initial consults unless I have a new call or, a consultation call. But I also use the tasks. I use the CRM as much as I can for extensions. So messaging, the biggest extension that has helped me is the invoice extensions. So I used to send out, they have 14 days until they leave. I should send them a reminder email, or 7 days and 3 days. Well, those are already put in every single reservation that I have. And if they have multiple, reservations, and one's 90 days, one's 60 days. It's already set up for me. So it's something that I don't even have to think about. So I also use that projected report in the CRM a lot to see what's coming up. So not so much to see what my projected income is, but I use that a lot to see, okay, what do I have coming up in the next month or 2
Right.
months? Sometimes I'm looking ahead, to do final documents and things like that. So really using the CRM as much as I can, so that I'm not physically having to remember all of these things for 1,000 clients or more.
Right. Right. And I want to come back to this after Emily, but I hear time blocking in there, which is something we have been talking a lot to newer agents about. Emily, how do you stay organized?
Well, I do have a full-time assistant, but Ashley and I do things very similar. So my voicemail actually says that my clients need to schedule a consultation or complete our form on our website. I don't answer my phone. Last week, I just randomly decided I was going to answer my phone, and I was on the phone
Bad idea.
45 minutes, which took, you would not believe the amount of emails that I get within a 45-minute time frame. So I told the gentleman, please schedule a consultation based on what works for your calendar, what works for my calendar. I only do 2 days a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I'm working on quotes. So I would not be where I am. Like, I hired my assistant 1 year ago, officially in February. And just last week, he is now Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every single day of the week. So completely full time. I also rely on, as soon as a client has paid my fee, yes, I charge a fee. They go like they're in my task right in the CRM, so that I'm not forgetting, okay, they have paid a fee, or I'm like, this in process, I'm working on this right now. Everything, if it wasn't for the CRM, I remember pre-CRM, like having a calendar up on the wall, and I'd have to have everybody's final payment due dates on there, scheduling, email, remembering to email them. Again, like, I don't use the CRM for sending quotes or invoices that way.
Right.
I strictly use the CRM to keep my clients organized, keep me organized. But really, if it wasn't for my full-time assistant and the CRM, that's the one way that I'm able to stay organized.
So you've both mentioned that you have an assistant. What do you use them for, and what don't you use them for?
So my assistant, really, like, my ultimate goal is I am quoting and booking. And right now he does all of my admin. He'll do my rewards. He confirms my consultations with clients 48 hours in advance. So if they're on my books, he's confirming those. He fields emails. Clients go directly to him with questions. He does documents. Really, like, my goal is to book trips. And so he's my full-time assistant. We don't have a team assistant yet, but yeah, he does everything.
And was this something that you have you had to really, you have to train him to a certain extent, but have you found this person that just almost finds the holes to fill for you?
Yes.
Or have you, yeah.
So I said, I don't know who's watched the movie Sex and the City, but Carrie Bradshaw's assistant, she would do things before she asked. And I said, I need somebody who's going to think of something before I even think of it. And he really does. I mean, he keeps my personal life organized and my business life, because I said, I probably need a personal assistant and a business assistant at this point in my life, because he'll call and make me a hair appointment. Otherwise, I would literally probably never leave my couch. Make sure that I've eaten lunch. Like, if I don't know what I would do without him, because he literally just takes as much. So the goal is, like, yes, think of things before I even think of it. Obviously, like, relinquishing control, we still struggle with that for me, because for 10 years, I did it all on my own. So there's a way I like emails to look, and making sure that the grammar is perfect. Like, I'm not an easy person to work for. I know that. And so I have, sometimes I'm like, I'm really sorry, but bear with me, because imagine me doing this for 10 years alone, and then suddenly trying to let someone help me. And he says, let me help you. And so, it's still a struggle.
Yeah. Ashley, what do you have your assistant do for you?
Well, I am in the point where Emily was still struggling to try to give everything away to my assistant. I would meet with Bill every year for a review, and his number one thing was, you need an assistant. You need an assistant. So for 3 years, I heard Bill say, you need an assistant. And finally, a year ago, I did get an assistant. I am very type A, and I'm still struggling with giving more of my stuff away. She's working. She also has another job right now. So she's working 5 to 10 hours a week. But I still do paper documents. Just my clients still like them. And I actually like that because it helps me to make sure I have everything ready for their trip. So she
Right.
helps with the paper documents. She does some payments. She does random calls if I need, calling clients back. She does, what else? Returning calls, entering bookings. So it's a struggle though. I've done it by myself, literally for 6 years. No one helped me. We
Right.
built this, Emily too. We built this from the ground up. So it's hard to give it over to somebody. And if it's not exactly how we do it, it's hard. So it's a struggle every day to continue to give things up to somebody else. So I'm still a work in
Well,
progress.
as you should be. I think this is just one of those businesses. And I know I have often said, think about if you have a hard time giving up control within your business, is there another place you can give up control? Like, can you have someone who maybe cleans your home
Oh, I
so
have
that
that.
that's not a piece that you have to take care, do as well? Is there, can you do grocery delivery? Can the dry cleaner come to your house? Like all of those things to help, because that might be a place where you're more open to relinquish control
Right.
as opposed to within your business. So, and I also think you have to be at a certain level to be able to use an assistant efficiently. First of all, you have to be able to pay them.
Oh, yeah.
But you also have to be able to explain to them how they can help you. And I think that just comes with time and volume and experience. This is always a hard question, but in what ways do your friends and family support this business that can oftentimes take over your life? Who wants that one?
I'll go first. So I wouldn't be where I am today and wouldn't have been able to quit my full-time job as a registered dietitian at the VA hospital if it wasn't for my husband. Not only for carrying the health coverage and dental coverage and all of that, but just giving me the courage to take this leap, a really good leap. But also, when you're first starting out, and you want to get to this level, it is nonstop working. There really isn't always a good family life balance. There's not a good relationship balance. It does come in time and you try to get better at it, but it takes a lot of your time. There's just no way around it. My kids sacrifice, my family sacrifices. Luckily, I have some very supportive people around me. I have some friends that I call my cheerleaders. Constantly, always were cheering for me on my Facebook page and sharing posts. But yeah, so now that I've gotten to a certain point, and a few times, like some come to Jesus moments with my husband, like, you're working too much. And that's when I changed my systems of, okay, no more night calls. My family dinner is my family dinner. And realizing that I'm still a mom, I'm a wife, I still want to be an athlete and go to the gym every morning. There's certain things that we don't want to give up. But overall, I just can't say enough. I couldn't be where I am today without my family. So.
Emily, who supports you? Because I know you have a huge support
I
system.
do. And I mean, it's hard. Like, my sister is obviously, my parents and my sister, like, they see the closest. Like, my mom just had surgery 4 weeks ago tomorrow, and I spent 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks with her, and I really struggled. Like, I 100% wanted to be there for her. And I was also trying to run a business at the same time. And like my family is number one. And I was, I had my out of office on, I had posted it on social media and said like, hey, my family is number one. And my clients were so supportive about it because I wanted to be there. But my mom also got to see a different side of like, oh my gosh, I would rush to my mom's side and then rush to the computer and rush to my mom's side and rush to the computer. And so like my family sees it and they're like, they know I have goals and they know that I've been through a lot in my life and they're super proud of me. My sister she'll tell me like, and my mom, when I was staying with her, she'd say, Emily, it's 6 o'clock, it's 6:30, it's 7 o'clock. And I'm like, I know. And I think for me, especially, I went through COVID alone. I did not have a significant other that could financially help me. I had nothing. Like I literally hit rock bottom, lost everything. And so now I feel like I still have kind of like a PTSD because I'm scared what's going to happen. And like I talk to Bill a lot and, he tells me, he instills in me to be financially responsible. Like I just had a call with my financial advisor and I said, hey, in my account, I need to have a year and a half to be able to survive, and not just survive, but comfortably survive, because I learned so many lessons from that. So I'm bounce back quicker than ever. But also in the back of my head, I still think, what happens tomorrow? And so it's constantly in my mind. So to put it down is hard because, like Ashley said, we start in the beginning and we're like, we have to book this and we have to book this and we have to book this. And I'm not doing that. Like, I don't book domestic travel anymore. But I am scared about the fact that like, okay, they are asking me for a quote. And if I don't get back to them soon enough, they'll go and book online, which I don't deal with very much anymore, but it's more so in my head. And it's getting that out of my brain that, hey, Emily, like people are waiting 1 month to get on your calendar. Do you really think that they're going to? But it's there. It's in the back of my head. So I mean, my family has to give me some gentle reminders, but they are so supportive. And I mean, my parents are so proud of me. Yeah.
You have really good out of
Thank you.
office emails. And what I think is so interesting is you're very, very
Yes.
honest, right? It's not just, thanks so much for reaching out, I'll respond back to you. It's if there's something going
Yeah.
on, you say it. And I think that, kind of like training your clients, I feel like if you set that up for the client, I feel like there's like a respect. And quite frankly, if there isn't, it's kind of like, well, you're welcome to go somewhere else, like you don't want that to happen. But I feel like you have to respect when life events are playing a part in a business. And it's not that you're saying you're not important. It's like, hey, I'm just giving you a heads up. And I've noticed that in your out of office, that you're detailed and you're not afraid to say, this is what's going on in my life. I need your
Right. And
patience.
I want them,
So
exactly. I try to show them that I am human. Like I'm not this person behind a computer. And so, real life stuff happens and I'm here for you. But yes, it's all part of still trying to train that, I have to have some boundaries and I'm still working on boundaries.
So you mentioned this conversation with your financial advisor, and you need to have X amount, and you've really just become very in tune with being financially savvy. So to the both of you, like, how do you decide what events to participate in, what fam trips to do? We have a lot of agents that it's like they're afraid that they're going to go away, and so it's like, let me do this, let me do this, let me do this, and so what advice do you have, or how do you determine what's best for you and for your agency? Ashley, let's start with you.
So I will tell you, the first 2 to 3 years of being an agent, I didn't attend one fam. But watching me on Facebook, and my friends and some of the other travel agents would probably think I was crazy because I'm traveling every single month. And I still, to this day, I haven't done a lot of what is a traditional fam, like getting invited, going on site inspections. What's important to me when I quit my job, my full-time job as a registered dietitian, is I wanted to travel, and nobody was going to stop me, right? So it's very important to me. I look at my full year. 2 to 3 group trips is my goal within where I travel with my group. So this year I did a Virgin Voyages cruise, which was for my 40th birthday. I have 60 people going to Greece with me, and I have a Canyonland trip that I'm going in November. I don't know yet for 2025. So those are set. And just posting those things is so important. I just got back from Africa, and hopefully if you follow me, you were inspired to go to Kenya because it's amazing. But I really try to do one KHM event a year at least. So last year I did the luxury symposium. I've done every single KHM event, and I was new to the industry when I first started in 2017. I'd never been in the travel industry. So I started with Boot Camp 1.0, 2.0. I've done Destination Success twice. I've done the luxury. I've done all the crystal conferences, and taking advantage too of the coaching. So I did that as well. But you wouldn't be surprised when you start meeting suppliers, your name started to get out there, especially if you pick one supplier that you're mainly booking with. The opportunities there's a lot. And unfortunately, because some of them are, 1 month away or 2 months away, you have to say no. So I've said no to a lot, and it's really heart-wrenching to say no to a Rocky Mountaineer or an Oceania cruise or New Zealand, all in the last 3 months. Dagger to the heart. But for me, it's really prioritizing. It's really prioritizing what I've already got on my schedule between family trips and my group trips, but what's going to sell too. Like if I'm not going to go to a destination for a fam at a resort that I'm not going to sell, it's just not worth the time and the money. Sometimes I find that, like, for example, I'm using my sandals points this month to go to Antigua, which I've never been. So in my eyes, even though I'm not getting a fam trip invite, I'm going and I'm using that as an experience. So it really just depends on my schedule and what I can fit in and still be a good mom and be there for my family and my husband. And it's you have to balance because you can't go to it all. We're not.
I like that you look at the whole year.
And Mandy Goddard, if you're listening, she goes to everything, and I am amazed by her.
She can't say no. She can't say no. Emily, how do you decide? And I know you spend quite a bit of time at your second home in Italy.
I do. Yes. I mean,
and I feel like that's not only experience, but that's a reset button for you too. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's almost seems like a flip the switch.
It really is. And I mean, obviously so much of what Ashley said is exactly what I was going to say. I really prioritize, like, what am I going to sell? But I also am a person that, like, just like Ashley, I'm also going to sandals, using my points at the end of May. And like, I prefer to immerse myself in a culture. I don't like your traditional fams. I was actually messaging Marcus yesterday and I said, why didn't I get invited on the fam trip that you're on? And he's like, you hate fams. I don't like to tour a hotel room and call it a day and say, yeah, I'll sell this resort, because okay, they're going to give you a lunch and that's going to be your experience with the food. So I like to immerse myself into the resort. I want to see how the staff is going to treat me, not knowing that I'm a travel advisor. So here I am pretending to be, just a consumer, a client, and to be visiting their resort, tasting the food, sleeping on the bed, all of that. Like, I want the full experience. I don't want a fam trip. Yes, I spend a lot of time in Italy. I am there touring hotels. I am eating the food at restaurants. I now have a 41-page guide that my assistant literally just finalized last week. It will be updated the next time I go back to Italy. But that's what my clients want. They want that little restaurant around the corner, not next to the Trevi Fountain. That's what they're coming to me for. They want a full experience and not, oh yeah, I ate at that restaurant one time and we had a preset menu. Like, that's not why clients are coming to me. They're coming to me because they want a unique experience, and they don't want me to tell them, yes, I passed through that room and the food looked good, but their own. But as my business has grown, I know where I should not only spend my money, where should my financial dollars go? How am I going to invest in my business and be able to help my clients and my team so that I can actually give real feedback and not feedback for, an hour-long tour at a property. So really, what am I passionate about? And how is it going to help my business? And am I going to sell it? Because there are a lot of invitations that I get, and sure, they're amazing, and I'm so grateful and so blessed to have so many invitations. Just like Ashley said, I turned down so many invitations, but also I think that if I was invited on a trip and I said yes, I would be doing the supplier an injustice as well. If I can't promise you I'm going to come home and sell it, because if I have no interest, and there's a lot of destinations I just have no interest in visiting. So I don't want them to spend their money on me either, because that's not, the type of business, like, I don't want to waste their time, and I need to be smart about my time, because I'm also leaving the office. I could have a 7-hour time difference, so I really have to be selective now. Is it worth it?
And I will say it has changed for both of us, I think, from when we first, like, if you're a brand new agent
Yes. Yeah.
and you can go on a fam trip to Mexico and see 10 resorts in one day, there is a place for that in the beginning.
Yes.
There is such a place for that, because then you can still see, those resorts and say, oh, that wasn't what I saw online,
Yeah.
And I really, in the beginning, that was beneficial for me, but both of us have grown to the point where we have to be selective, and I would rather go and stay at the new Ava resort instead of doing a fam trip of 10 hotels. I would rather just do one. So it depends on where you are in your agent, process.
Yes. It's very subjective, because I couldn't agree more. I think that, new agents, if they have the financial means, go and get on the ground, and also your clients are watching you. So like, that's, my advice. And even for my team, I like the slogan, does your travel agent travel? Because how are you going to say that you are a travel advisor if you are literally not going anywhere? So your clients are going to see you. That is a very quick way to, build your business. Now everyone knows that Italy is my specialty, because I spend so much time on the ground. But yes, to reiterate what Ashley said, obviously we are at a very different point in our businesses where we can be selective. So yes.
And I think your answer is so specific and so on point, because I think you gave the beginner piece and the goal, right? And I think that's so important. Before I let you both go, I would like to know, where is your reset place? What helps you reset? I feel like I know where Emily's is. Ashley, where's yours? And then I'm going to ask you, Emily, for sure, because maybe I'm wrong. Where's your reset place?
I don't have one specific place. I think I travel. I want to travel at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. And I think that in and of itself, wherever it might be, is my reset. So, I've already done 4 or 5 trips this year, maybe 6, I don't know. My next destination is Antigua. And my goal, like, for example, when I just did my Africa trip, we did 10 days in Africa. My goal was to meet my monthly goal for March in 2 weeks for sales, which I did. And then 2 weeks, I did not take on a single new client, and I did not book a single booking for 2 weeks. I can't say that I do that on every trip. This was a super special trip for my daughter's senior trip, but that's the beauty of this job that we can do if you're doing it full time, is you can decide, hey, I'm going to work for 2 weeks and I'm not going to work. Not that I didn't look at my computer. I still worked. I just decided not to take on new
But
clients.
That's impressive. Yep. Yep, that's impressive, and good for you for doing that, and maybe even just that action was a reset for you. Emily, where's your reset place?
Oh my gosh, to be quite honest with you, and I get so much, like, when I say this, people are like, oh, I don't feel bad for you, but Home, I'm like, so, I've reached a point, in the past. I think I'm getting a little bit better, but I was just exhausted. I can't travel once a month anymore because I am playing catch up. And it's honestly, I felt like I needed a break from travel because I got to the point where it wasn't enjoyable for me. And I was getting on a plane and I
Mm.
more or less felt like, oh, here I go again. I'm going to play catch up. I'm going to be checking my emails 24/7. My friends and family will attest to the fact that I'm sitting by a pool, literally staring at my phone. So Italy is a reset for me. I'm very excited for the day that I get to return. But also coming home, like I feel like the older that I get, so I'll also be turning 40 this year. Like the moment I step into my home, and it's new, so it's probably just, my house new. I'm happy to come home, but like I just feel like I can take, a huge sigh and deep breath and just like, no, okay, I'm here. I'm in. Again, we go back to the structure. I live a very structured life, and so I'm like trying to balance. I want I want to look forward to traveling again. So that's where I'm trying to get to. So I am taking the summer off. I'll be home for 4 months and I am actually looking forward to it. Like a Minnesota summer, seeing my family and
I
friends.
would die a little inside, I think.
Nope.
For
I'm
4 months.
Well,
All right, Emily, I want to see a vegetable garden. Can you please plant a vegetable
I did
garden?
have some flowers last summer, which I killed because I don't do well at those things. But you know what, Carolyn, back to hiring someone, I'll maybe hire someone to take care of my flowers and my garden. But I mean, I would say like, yes, Italy is my happy place. But also home has become my other happy place. Yep. Yeah.
I love it. You guys, this has been amazing. And honestly, I probably have like 10 more questions I could ask you. So don't block my emails because you might be getting another one that says in 2 months, we want to have you come back on, because I just think you both have such an interesting journey, and whereby from an outsider's perspective, they might look similar. But if you listen closely, there's a lot of differences as well. And I just think that we can all learn a little something from those who have gone through it. And the
Yeah.
feed is blowing up here. So I think that everyone appreciates so much what you both have to say. And I look forward to seeing you both again, maybe soon. I don't know. I might have to come to Minnesota.
I know. Yes, it's actually getting like we just lost all of our snow and it might actually be nice, but I just want to say I saw all the comments coming in on my right-hand side, and you're all amazing. Thank you so much, and thank you for your kind words and your compliments. Yeah. It means a lot.
It's a lot of fun. Thank you both so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will for sure be in touch. Take care.
All right, thanks.
Happy Earth Day.
Yes.
You guys, was that amazing or what? We will definitely have them on again. And I just think it's important to, Amy just said girls trip to Minnesota. Actually, my nephew is up there and my son is looking at the University of Minnesota for college. So who knows? I might be spending more time up there. But you guys, thank you so much for joining today. Thank you, Steve from Tauck, for joining us. Emily and Ashley, it was fantastic. Next week, you guys, I will have the pleasure of joining our Boot Camp 2.0ers in Brunswick, Ohio at our headquarters. So we will not have a show next week, but we will be releasing a sustainable travel podcast in honor of Earth Day. So I hope you guys will listen to that on Thursday. Thank you very much for joining us. You guys have a great rest of your day.